Hello and welcome to episode 3 of the Coaches Show. Adam Plager alongside the head coach of the Foresters, Jim Catanzaro. After a big week in conference play, the Foresters opening up 1-0 in Midwest Conference play, taking down the Illinois College Blue Boys 42-35. Well, Coach, let's get into things. Big victory for your group, but just talk about that mindset for the group heading into that game against Illinois College.
Yeah, it was a great win, obviously. I thought our guys played with a lot of resilience. I thought they played with a toughness and a grit. I guess, we use all the cliches, but they showed up, and we didn't do things necessarily pretty, but we did things effectively, and I think that was kind of the mindset. It's like we know that if we're in tough, gritty games, we have a chance to win those games. We're not the highest, flashiest team in the world, but we are really darn good at what we do, and that's playing tough football. And I thought our guys did that for 60 minutes on Saturday. I thought that was probably the most impressive 60-minute performance that we've had in a couple of years. I'm looking forward to us building upon that.
Your team set the tone early in the game with that blocked punt to start things off in the fourth quarter, setting up the first score of the ball. You can just talk about the way the special teams were able to make the action happen.
Yeah, I was really excited for that, and it was really great that it was Josiah Kidd getting to make that play and return that for a touchdown. He's a guy that was our leading rusher last year, and is kind of been maybe not as high in the depth chart this year as he would like, but he made a great play there, picked it up, and the guy who really gets some credit on that one is Dominic Lewis, because he, instead of continuing to go after the ball, turned and blocked the punter. And so by him blocking the punter, that allowed Josiah to go to the end zone untouched, and I thought that was a great heady play. We had a lot of other pressure on there. I think that because we had the pressure the first time and their desire to not necessarily punt to AJ, I thought we were able to take advantage of that. The first kickoff return they had, after that they decided to go fair catch on all their kickoff returns, which was something I was not expecting. So I don't know if our coverage or the hang time of the kicks or whatever it was. So I thought that was advantageous for us. And I thought we did a good job in the punt game. We had a few mistakes. We had a mistake on field goal PAT, and then we had a mistake on the field goal that got blocked. One guy stepped right when he should have stepped left, and we can't have those mistakes in those critical times. So I thought our special teams made some plays, but also probably gave up some plays, and we need to just be a little bit better on that as we move forward.
Your team's had to deal with some adversity early in the year, some key guys out with injury and whatnot, but it's also opened up the door to opportunity for some other guys, and one in particular, Michael Kazmarevich, gets the start in week 2. What do you make of his presence in the ballgame and just the way he stayed so composed?
Yeah, I thought his approach to the game was very relaxed. He wasn't trying to do anything over the top. He really started to understand the game plan more as the week went on, and I thought that was helpful. If you'd have told me he was going to kind of have the streak that he had towards the end of the game on Tuesday, I might have questioned you a little bit, as we were trying to really get him to dive into the coverages that he was going to see and stuff like that. But he really took a workmanship approach to it. By the end of the week, we were really confident. I think he came into the game on Saturday super confident, made some big throws down the stretch there to keep the ball moving. I think he was even a little surprised that I was leaning on him throwing the ball more than us running the football at the end in the fourth quarter, and it was my confidence in him and the way that he'd been playing, and we just had to keep trusting his arm, and he did a great job delivering for us.
There's no question A.J. Jackson's performance was a storyline, 5 rushing touchdowns. You don't often see that from a wide receiver. Just talk about the way he was able to adapt in his own game.
Yeah, I think one of the best things about AJ is he doesn't care how we win as long as we win. And he's not about personal accolades. He's not about stats for himself. He's just willing to do whatever it takes for us to win. And so when he and I were talking, earlier in the week about, hey, I really think that if we do this, you could be a game changer for us. He was like, okay. Like, there was no question. It was like, yeah, whatever you say, coach. And if it was going to be for 1 yard or 5 yards, whatever it was going to be, he didn't care. And AJ is a very strong, physically gifted human. We've all seen that over the years. And when guys are trying to make tackles one-on-one in space against him, that doesn't usually go very well for the defense. And for me, there's that challenge, age-old challenge for coaches, that when you've got some really talented players, how do you get them the football, right? Well, when you got really talented wide receivers, you got to throw the football. Well, we can't throw the ball 50 times a game. We didn't want to put that kind of pressure on Michael, in his first start. And so if that meant we had to hand the ball off to AJ to give him 12 touches, so be it. He still caught a couple of big passes, and including one that didn't even count because of a penalty. But we were able to get the ball to T-Land through the air a little bit. And we just, trying to get those guys the ball, it may require us being a little bit more creative than just, dropping back and throwing the ball 50 times. And I think that's on us as coaches to do. And, get the ball in the hands of your best players is what my job is ultimately as an offensive coordinator.
Well, speaking of battling through pressure, you guys had to go for it. A big 2-point conversion play to take the lead from 33-27 to 35-27. A huge momentum-boosting play in the ballgame. Just talk about Michael Kazmarevich just staying calm in that play and just the way you guys were able to make that happen.
Yeah, it's kind of a twofold. I got to give a lot of credit to Coach Bourbon, our quarterbacks coach, because he kind of circled this play all week as something that's not one of our normal 2-point plays. But because of some things we were seeing from them, he kind of had it with Johnny on the spot with the wristband number, so I didn't have to think about it. And for Kaz, what was actually kind of unique, he hadn't repped that play yet. So that's the first time he's ever ran that play. And we knew if we got him out on the rollout, we knew kind of where he would probably put his eyes to throw the football. And he delivered an absolute dart to T-Land, who made a great catch, keeping his feet in bounds. We were kind of frustrated that we even had to go for 2. Had we made the field goal, the drive earlier, we would have been up that extra point, and so we would have already made up those points, and we wouldn't have had to do that. But we had talked about at halftime when we would do it, and the fourth quarter score was kind of where we thought we needed to, and it was a great time to do it when we did. So.
Well, there were certainly big plays throughout the ballgame, but you guys had to be able to try and shut down one of the top offenses in the Midwest Conference. Destin Chance, their All-American wide receiver, Colin Brunstein, Trey Birdsong. Just talk about the way the defense was able to come up with some big plays.
Yeah, I thought that that their offense hit some big plays, right? And I thought that the best part about our defense was they responded. Unfortunately, a couple of their scoring drives were like these 1- and 2-play scoring drives for like 60 yards. But whenever we made them have to drive, we were able to get stops until their last drive. And so to me, I thought the best part about our defense is they kept fighting. They didn't give up after, giving up a couple of big plays. There's a couple of guys on our team that, demonstrated some extreme leadership as they saw their roles reduced a little bit as the game went on. And they didn't complain. They knew it was best for the team in that moment. And so they were really supportive, helping their teammates. And I thought that was a true sign of the character for some of our guys to say, I got to take a step back right now. It's better to have this guy in for me and me to do these other things. And I thought that was really impressive defensively. I also thought that, the defensive front, we got Mark Rice back at halftime after, he had to serve his targeting suspension from the week before. He gave us a huge lift after the second half, making a couple of really big plays early on. And I thought that really helped our pass, rush get a little bit better as the game went on. And, I really thought that our defense fought like crazy. We knew we were playing this offense. We knew they were really motivated because last year we'd beaten them. We were their only regular season loss. We knew that, scoring-wise, I think they averaged 40-something points a game last year, and we'd held them to 6. So we just knew, or 7. I knew they were going to be coming gunning for us. And they're really talented. They're going to give some people some fits this year, and, I hope they win a bunch of games because that helps us. So.
Yeah, certainly a big win to set the tone in conference play. Cornell College is next. First road game of the year. Just talk about what the group has to do to get ready for an away contest.
Yeah, we just had, it's an overnight contest for us, which I actually really like. I think it's a great opportunity for our guys to just spend time together. One of my favorite experiences as a player and as a coach is just watching people, eating that dinner on Friday night at a hotel or a restaurant or something like that, and just spending time with one another. And it's not about necessarily football in those moments. It's just about relationship building. And so to me, that's a big thing. Our guys have to travel well. It is different when you got to sleep in a hotel bed versus your dorm bed or wherever else. And we have to take that businessman's approach. I think every coach in the country says it's a business trip, right? Well, if it's a business trip, then you have certain things you're going to do so that in the end of the result, you get what you want. And so for us, we just have to go into it with that mindset. We're going to be playing a really good team that has some really talented players. Their running back is really special. He's a kid that we know from Arizona that we recruited. And so they've got some really talented kids. And we've got to be prepared for that. They got great coaching staff. I've known some of the guys on their coaching staff for over 15 years. And, it's just guys that they get after ball and they're going to have to be motivated and they want to beat us. So, us beating Illinois College just sets it, an even higher standard of what people think about us. And we'll get their best shot, there's no doubt.
Certainly no doubt that win over Illinois College sets things up well for you guys. But just talk about how important now it's setting the tone is against Cornell in that first half.
Yeah, I mean, that game's over already. Like nothing about the Illinois College game helps us moving forward, unless we except for the things we learned from it when we watch film, right? We are a 1-0 mentality, so this week is all that matters, and then we will do everything we can for the next 6 days to prepare for Cornell. When we're done with Cornell, we'll move on to the next team. But until then, it's about Cornell, and we have to focus on what they do well. We have to be focused on what we do well, what we need to improve upon, and look for all those areas where we can take an advantage and get that victory.
Forster fans, that's going to wrap up episode 3 of the Coaches Show featuring Jim Catanzaro. Coach, thanks again for taking the time.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.